When you truly believe, you are not simply entertaining a possibility. You are embodying a certainty. You are living from the end, experiencing in your imagination the fulfillment of your desire as an accomplished fact. Now you may ask, Neville, how can mere belief make everything possible? To answer this, we must first grasp the fundamental truth of our existence. Consciousness is the only reality. The world you perceive around you, with all its seeming solidity and permanence, is nothing more than an outpicturing of your own consciousness. It is a shadow, a reflection of the beliefs and assumptions you hold within. When you change your beliefs, when you alter the contents of your consciousness, the world has no choice but to conform to this new inner reality. It must, for there's no other power in the universe save that which beats within your own heart, that which resides in your own magnificent human imagination. Consider for a moment the things you currently believe to be true about yourself and your world. Perhaps you believe that success is hard to come by, that love is elusive, that abundance is for others but not for you. These beliefs, whether you're conscious of them or not, are shaping your experience at this very moment. They are the invisible architects of your life, constructing your reality brick by brick, experience by experience. But here's the wonderful truth, my friends. Just as you have accepted these limiting beliefs, you have the power to accept new, empowering ones. You have the God-given ability to choose your beliefs, to select the assumptions upon which you will build your life. And when you exercise this power, when you dare to believe in the fulfillment of your heart's desires, you set in motion forces beyond your wildest dreams. Let me share with you a principle that has the power to revolutionize your understanding of belief and manifestation. It is that the feeling is the secret. When you believe that something is possible, truly possible for you, you experience a distinct feeling. It is a feeling of naturalness, of rightness, of course this is mine. This feeling is not one of anxious hoping or desperate wishing. It is a calm. It is the feeling of one who knows that their good is already theirs, who understands that what they desire is already accomplished in the realm of infinite possibilities, waiting only for their acceptance to be made manifest in the world of form. To cultivate this feeling, to nurture this belief, you must make use of your imaginative faculty. For your imagination, my dear friends, is nothing less than God in action within you. It is the creative power of the universe, localized and individualized in you. When you use your imagination to create a scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire, when you enter into that scene and experience it as real, you are exercising your divine prerogative as a co-creator with God. Let me give you an example to illustrate this principle. Suppose you desire financial abundance. The common approach would be to focus on the lack of money, to worry about bills, to stress about how to make ends meet. But this approach only perpetuates the experience of lack. Instead, I urge you to do this. Close your eyes and imagine a scene that implies your financial abundance is a present fact. Perhaps you see yourself confidently paying all your bills with ease. Perhaps you imagine a conversation with a friend where you casually mention your flourishing bank account. Or maybe you feel the joy and freedom of making a significant donation to a cause close to your heart. Whatever scene feels most natural to you, enter into it fully. Feel the relief, the gratitude, the sense of security that comes with financial abundance. As you imagine this scene, as you feel the reality of it, you are planting a seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. This seed, nurtured by your belief, watered by your feeling of naturalness, will grow into your physical reality. Remember, my friends, your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience in the outer world. To your subconscious, they are one and the same. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, I've tried to believe before. I've tried to be positive, to think good thoughts, but nothing changed. To this I say, fleeting surface-level affirmations are not enough. What is required is a fundamental shift in your state of consciousness. You must become the person who already has what you desire. You must live from the end. This, my dear listeners, is the art of assumption. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you walk and talk and think from the standpoint of your desire accomplished, you're aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. You are stepping into the role of the person you wish to be. And in doing so, you compel the outer world to reflect this new inner reality. Let me share with you a story that illustrates the power of belief and assumption. I once knew a man who had been unemployed for months. He had applied for countless jobs, gone on numerous interviews, but to no avail. With each rejection, his belief in his own employability diminished, and his outer world faithfully reflected this belief. One day, after hearing me speak on these principles, he decided to apply them. Instead of continuing to search desperately for a job, he began to assume the feeling of being gainfully employed. Each night before sleep, he would imagine himself driving to work, sitting at his desk, interacting with colleagues. He felt the satisfaction of a job well done, the security of a regular paycheck. Within 2 weeks, he received a call from a company he had interviewed with months ago. They had an opening and thought of him immediately. He was offered the job on the spot at a salary higher than he had initially hoped for. This, my friends, is the power of belief in action. When he changed his assumption, when he dared to believe his employed state, the outer world rearranged itself to match his inner conviction. Now, I want to address a question that may be arising in some of your minds. You may be wondering, if everything is possible when I believe, does that mean I can believe in anything, no matter how fantastic or improbable? Yes, absolutely yes. For remember, the world you see around you is nothing more than an outpicturing of consciousness. The laws that seem to govern it, the limitations that appear to constrain it, exist only because you have given them power through your belief. In the realm of infinite possibilities, which is the true nature of reality, there are no limitations save those you accept in your own mind. The only boundaries are those you draw with your own beliefs. When you truly grasp this truth, when you internalize it and live from it, you will understand that nothing, absolutely nothing, is impossible to you. Consider the great innovators and visionaries throughout history. These were individuals who dared to believe in possibilities that others dismissed as fantasy. They held fast to their vision even in the face of ridicule and opposition. In doing so, they reshaped the world. They did not bow to the limitations of consensus reality. Instead, they used the power of their belief to bring into manifestation that which had previously been deemed impossible. You, my dear friends, have the same power within you. You have the ability to reshape your world, to bring into being experiences and achievements that others might label as impossible. But to do this, you must be willing to stand firm in your belief, even when the outer world seems to contradict it. You must be willing to walk by faith and not by sight, trusting in the invisible reality of your imagination more than the visible facts of your current circumstances. Let us delve deeper into the mechanics of this process. When you choose to believe in the possibility of your desire, when you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are actually shifting your entire state of consciousness. You are moving from one state, the state of lack, or wanting, to another state, the state of fulfillment. This shift in consciousness is far more than a mental exercise. It is a repositioning of your entire being. It affects not only your thoughts, but your emotions, your energy, your very vibration. And as you maintain this new state, as you consistently occupy this new position in consciousness, your outer world must, by the immutable laws of creation, begin to reflect this shift. Think of it like this. Your consciousness is like a radio transmitter, constantly broadcasting a signal to the universe. This signal is composed of your beliefs, your assumptions, your dominant thoughts and feelings. The universe, like a cosmic radio receiver, picks up this signal and responds by orchestrating events, encounters, and circumstances that match your broadcast. When you change your beliefs, when you assume a new state, you are essentially changing the frequency of your broadcast. And just as surely as changing the station on a radio brings in a different program, changing your inner state brings about a different outer experience. Now, I want to address a common stumbling block that may encounter on this journey of conscious creation. Often, When people first hear these teachings, they become excited and immediately try to believe in the biggest, most audacious desires they can imagine. While I applaud this enthusiasm, I must caution, true belief is not something that can be forced or faked. You cannot trick your subconscious mind. You cannot fool the universe. If you try to believe in something that feels utterly foreign or impossible to you, you will only create inner conflict and frustration. Instead, I urge you to start with what I call the art of the possible. Begin by choosing beliefs that stretch you slightly beyond your current experience, but not so far that they feel completely unattainable. As you successfully manifest these smaller desires, as you prove to yourself the power of your belief, you will naturally expand your sense of what's possible. Your faith will grow. Your belief will strengthen. And you will find yourself capable of assuming states that once seemed out of reach. Remember, my friends, this is not a race. It is not a competition. It is a journey of self-discovery, a process of unveiling your own divine nature. Be patient with yourself. Be gentle, but also be persistent. For with each belief you successfully embody, with each desire you bring into manifestation, you are expanding your consciousness and increasing your power as a deliberate creator. Now, let us address another crucial aspect of this process, the role of action. Some misinterpret these teachings to mean that belief alone is sufficient, that one can simply sit back and wait for their desires to manifest. While it's true that the inner work of consciousness is the most important part of the creative process, it does not negate the need for inspired action. When you truly believe in the possibility of your desire, when you fully assume the state of your wish fulfilled, you will find yourself naturally inspired to take actions that align with this new state. These actions will not feel forced or stressful. They will not come from a place of lack or desperation. Instead, they will feel natural, joyful, almost effortless. This is because when you are living from the state of the wish fulfilled, you are allowing your expanded consciousness to guide your actions. You are tapping into a wisdom beyond your limited ego mind. The actions you take from this state will be far more effective, far more aligned with the realization of your desire than any amount of frantic doing from a state of lack or need. Let me give you an example to illustrate this point. Imagine you desire a romantic partnership. You could spend your time desperately searching for love, going on countless dates, trying to force a connection. Or you could assume the state of being in a loving relationship. You could feel the joy, the companionship, the deep connection in your imagination. From this state, your actions would be very different. You might find yourself naturally engaging in activities you enjoy, radiating a sense of fulfillment and self-love. You might find yourself more open, more approachable, more authentically yourself. And in this state, you are far more likely to attract the right person into your life, often in ways you could never have planned or anticipated. This, my dear friends, is the dance between inner states and outer actions. When your inner state is aligned with your desire, your outer actions become a joyful expression of that alignment, rather than a desperate attempt to fill a perceived lack. Now, I want to address a question that often arises when discussing the power of belief. What about other people? Can my belief change their behavior or override their free will? This is a profound question that touches on the very nature of our shared reality. Remember, my friends, that everyone in your world is you pushed out. They are reflections of your consciousness, playing roles that correspond to your beliefs and assumptions. This does not mean they are not real or that they don't have their own consciousness. Rather, it means that your experience of them, your interaction with them, is shaped by your own state of consciousness. When you change your beliefs about someone, when you assume a new state in relation to them, you are not manipulating them or overriding their free will. You're simply shifting to a parallel reality where they behave in accordance with your new assumption. In essence, you are choosing to experience a version of them that aligns with your new state. This understanding has profound implications for all your relationships. It means that if you want to experience a change in someone's behavior towards you, the most effective approach is not to try to change them directly, but to change your own assumptions about them. As you hold steadfastly to this new assumption, as you live from the state where they are as you desire them to be, you will find your experiences with them transforming, often in ways that seem miraculous. Let's take this principle even further. When you truly understand that everything is possible when you believe, you begin to take full responsibility for your entire life experience. You recognize that every circumstance, every encounter, every event in your life is a reflection of your own consciousness. This realization is incredibly empowering, for it means that by changing your consciousness, you can change anything in your life. Are you experiencing financial lack? Look to your beliefs about money and abundance. Do you find yourself in unfulfilling relationships? Examine your assumptions about love and your own worthiness. Is your health less than optimal? Consider your belief about your body and its capacity for well-being. In every area of your life, you have the power to choose new beliefs, to assume new states of consciousness. And as you do so, as you consistently embody these new states, you will watch in awe as your outer world reshapes itself to match your inner convictions. Now, some of you may be thinking, this all sounds wonderful, Neville, but how do I maintain this belief? This new state of consciousness when my current reality seems to contradict it. This, my friends, is where the real work begins. This is where you must exercise your spiritual muscles, where you must demonstrate your faith in the unseen reality of your imagination over the apparent facts of your physical senses. Remember, your physical senses show you only the effects of past beliefs and assumptions. They show you where you have been in consciousness, not where you are going. If you wait for your outer world to change before you change your belief, you will wait forever. You must have the courage to believe in the reality of your imagined state, even when your senses deny it. This does not mean you ignore your current reality, or pretend it doesn't exist, rather. It means you give more importance, more attention, more emotional intensity to your desired state than to your current circumstances. You acknowledge your present situation, but you do not give it power over your imagination. One powerful technique for maintaining your desired state in the face of contradictory circumstances is what I call living in the end. This involves creating a short, symbolic scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire and returning to this scene repeatedly throughout your day. For instance, if you desire financial abundance, your scene might be looking at a bank statement showing a large balance, or shaking hands with someone who is congratulating you on your financial success. The specifics of the scene are not as important as the feeling it evokes. As you return to this scene again and again, as you step into it and feel it as real, you are reinforcing your new state of consciousness, strengthening your belief in the possibility of your desire. Another powerful tool for maintaining your belief is gratitude. When you cultivate a deep sense of gratitude for your desire as if it were already fulfilled, you align yourself with the frequency of having rather than wanting. Gratitude is the feeling of your wish fulfilled. It is the emotional state of one who knows their good is already theirs. Practice feeling grateful for your desire throughout your day. Give thanks for it as you wake in the morning and as you lay down to sleep at night. Let gratitude infuse your entire being. For when you are truly grateful, you cannot simultaneously feel lack or anxiety. Gratitude and faith go hand in hand, each reinforcing the other. Now, my dear friends, as we delve deeper into this exploration of the power of belief, I want to address a common misconception. Many people, when they first encounter these teachings, believe that they must maintain a constant state of positive thinking, that they must never allow a negative thought to enter their minds. This is not only impossible, but unnecessary. You are human, and it is natural for doubts and fears to arise, especially when you are stretching beyond your current experience. The key is not to eliminate these thoughts entirely, but to not dwell on them, to not give them power. When a doubting thought arises, simply acknowledge it, and then gently return your attention to your desired state. Think of it like this. Your mind is like a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds. You cannot prevent birds from flying over your garden, but you can prevent them from nesting there. In the same way, you cannot prevent every negative thought from crossing your mind, but you can choose not to nurture these thoughts. not to water them with your attention and emotional energy. Instead, focus on planting and nurturing the seeds of your desired reality. Water them with your attention, fertilize them with your emotion, tend to them with your consistent assumption of the state of wish fulfilled. As you do this, these seeds will grow strong, eventually crowding out the weeds of doubt and disbelief. Remember, my friends, belief is not a one-time event. It is not something you do once and then sit back and wait for results. Belief, true belief that makes all things possible, is a practice. It is something you cultivate daily, hourly, moment by moment. It is a way of life. A constant choosing to align yourself with the reality you desire to experience. As you embark on this journey of conscious creation, of living from the state of your wish fulfilled, you may encounter resistance from those around you. Friends, family, even your own habitual patterns of thought may seem to conspire against your new understanding. This is natural and to be expected. The world around you is accustomed to your old state of consciousness and may initially resist your attempts to shift to a new state. Do not let this deter you. Remember, everyone in your world is you pushed out. Their resistance is simply a reflection of your own doubts and fears. As you stand firm in your new state, as you persist in your assumption of your wish fulfilled, you will find that the world around you has no choice but to conform to your new consciousness. This persistence, this unwavering faith in the face of apparent contradiction, is what separates those who truly manifest their desires from those who merely wish and hope. It is the difference between those who live lives of miraculous achievement and those who remain bound by the limitations of their past beliefs. Now, let us address another crucial aspect of this process. Detachment. Many of you, in your eagerness to manifest your desires, may find yourselves obsessing over the when and how of your manifestation. You may find yourself constantly checking for signs, anxiously awaiting the physical proof of your desires' fulfillment. But remember, my dear friends, attachment to outcomes is a form of doubt. It is an implicit statement that you do not truly believe in the reality of your desire. For if you truly believed, if you were living completely from the state of wish fulfilled, you would feel no need to anxiously await its manifestation. You would know with unshakable certainty that it is already yours. This is why I often say, live as though you have it. When you can completely relax into the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you can go about your day secure in the knowledge that your desire is already a fait accompli in the realm of infinite possibilities, you open the way for its swift manifestation in your physical reality. Detachment does not mean you don't care about your desire. On the contrary, it means you care so deeply, you believe so completely, that you can rest in the absolute assurance of its fulfillment. It is a state of peaceful expectancy, of calm certainty. It is the feeling of one who knows their good is already theirs and is content to allow it to unfold in divine timing. As you practice living from this state of calm assurance, you will find that your manifestations come about in ways that are often surprising and delightful. The how and when of your desires' fulfillment will often exceed your limited imagination. For remember, the infinite intelligence of the universe has access to possibilities far beyond what your rational mind can conceive. Your job is not to figure out how your desire will manifest. Your job is simply to assume the state of its fulfillment, to live from the end, and to allow the creative power of the universe to bring about its manifestation in the most perfect way. Now, I want to address a question that often arises as people begin to experience success with these principles. They ask, Neville, if everything is possible when I believe, does that mean I can manifest anything no matter how grand or seemingly impossible? And to this I say, yes, absolutely. Remember, my dear friends, the only limits that exist are those you accept in your own mind. The universe is infinite, and you are a divine being with access to all the power of creation. When you truly grasp this, when you fully embody this truth, you will understand that nothing, absolutely nothing, is beyond your ability to manifest. With great power comes great responsibility. As you begin to grasp the true extent of your creative ability, it becomes crucial to examine your desires carefully. Ask yourself, Is this desire in alignment with my highest good and the highest good of all? Does it come from a place of love and expansion, or from fear and lack? Well, you see, my friends, when you understand the power of your consciousness to shape reality, you also understand that you are responsible for everything you create. There is no one else to blame, no external circumstances to point to. You are the author of your life story, the creator of your reality. This realization can be both liberating and sobering. It means that you have the power to create a life beyond your wildest dreams. But it also means that if you are experiencing circumstances you do not desire, you must look within to find the source of these experiences in your own consciousness. As you continue on this journey of conscious creation, of living from the state of your wish fulfilled, you will find that your desires themselves begin to evolve. As you experience the joy of manifesting your initial desires, as you prove to yourself the power of your consciousness, you will naturally begin to desire experiences of greater expansion, of deeper fulfillment, of more profound service to others. This is the natural evolution of consciousness. As you grow in your understanding and application of these principles, you will find yourself desiring not just personal gain, but the upliftment of all humanity. You will begin to see yourself not as a separate individual striving for personal success, but as an integral part of the cosmic whole, using your creative power for the benefit of all. And this, my dear friends, is where the true magic happens. When you align your desires with the highest good of all, when you use your creative power in service of love and expansion, you tap into a power beyond anything you've previously experienced. You become a channel for divine creativity, a vessel through which the infinite intelligence of the universe can express itself in ever more beautiful and harmonious ways. As we near the conclusion of our time together, I want to leave you with this final thought. The power to believe, to assume the state of your wish fulfilled, to live from the end is not just a tool for manifesting material desires. It is, in essence, your birthright as a divine being. It is the means by which you fulfill your highest purpose, express your truest self, and contribute to the ongoing evolution of consciousness. When you truly believe that everything is possible, when you live from the state of infinite potential, you become a beacon of light in the world. Your very presence inspires others to question their own limitations, to reach for their own dreams. Your life becomes a living testament to the creative power of consciousness, a demonstration of what is possible when one dares to believe. So go forth, my dear friends, with this knowledge burning brightly within you. Know that you are not bound by the limitations of your past, by the constraints of your current circumstances, or by the doubts of those around you. You are a divine creator, capable of reshaping your reality in accordance with your deepest desires and highest aspirations. Believe in the power of your consciousness. Trust in the reality of your imagination. Live from the state of your wish fulfilled. For when you do, when you truly embody this state of being, you will find that everything, absolutely everything, is possible. The entire universe conspires to bring your desires into manifestation, often in ways more wonderful than you could have imagined. Remember, the feeling is the secret. Cultivate the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Nurture it with your attention. Feed it with your emotion. Protect it from the doubts and fears that may arise. As you do this, as you persist in this state, despite all apparent contradictions, you will watch in as your outer world reshapes itself to match your inner conviction. And as you experience success, as you manifest your desires and reshape your reality, remember to share this knowledge with others, not through preaching or proselytizing, but through living example. Let your life be a testament to the power of belief. Let your achievements inspire others to question their own limitations and reach for their own dreams. For in truth, my dear friends, when you understand and apply these principles, when you live from the state of your wish fulfilled, you become a co-creator with the divine. You step into your true power as a conscious, deliberate creator of your reality. And in doing so, you contribute to the ongoing evolution of consciousness, to the gradual awakening of all humanity to its divine nature and infinite potential. So go now, with this knowledge burning brightly within you. Believe in the power of your consciousness. Trust in the reality of your imagination. Live from the state of your wish fulfilled. For when you do, you will find that truly. When you believe everything is possible, the entire universe is yours to shape, to mold, to create in accordance with your highest vision. Remember, you are the operant power in your world. You are the one who decides what is possible and what is not. Choose wisely, believe fully, and watch as miracles unfold in your life. For you are, in truth, the very power of creation itself, individualized in human form. Embrace this truth, live from this understanding, and step into the magnificent, miraculous life. That is your divine birthright. Go forth and create. My dear friends, the world awaits your conscious command. Everything is possible when you believe. This is the truth that will set you free, the knowledge that will empower you to live the life of your dreams. Embrace it fully, embody it completely, and watch as your world transforms before your very eyes. For when you believe, truly believe, everything is possible.
Trust the universe to give you what you need, for nothing is withheld from you except by the limits of your own belief. Life is not a cruel game where you are left abandoned, struggling for scraps, fighting to claim what should never have been denied you in the first place. Life is a mirror, reflecting to you what you dare to hold within your imagination. And the universe is not an enemy but a faithful servant, responding to the command you give it in the silence of your heart. To trust the universe is to trust yourself, for you and the universe are not separate. What you carry in consciousness, the universe must project on the screen of your life. The difficulty arises when you look only at appearances. You see the bank account balance, the bills stacked high, the relationships in disarray, the body that feels tired, the opportunities that seem distant. You see these things and assume they are the truth. You think the universe has withheld from you what you need, but appearances are only shadows. They are echoes of old states you once occupied. To make appearances your master is to chain yourself to the past. The truth is not what you see now, but what you dare to accept as already yours within the unseen realm of imagination. The moment you trust that unseen power, the moment you allow yourself to rest in the assurance that the universe provides, things begin to shift. Circumstances rearrange. People appear. Unexpected calls come. The very fabric of your world bends to fulfill what you have assumed to be true. For the universe does not resist. It only reflects. It is not against you. It is simply awaiting your inner command. To trust the universe means to relax into the knowing that what you desire is already given. It does not mean you sit passively waiting in despair. It means you act from the confidence that all is working in your favor. That even when the path looks hidden, it is unfolding perfectly. A seed buried beneath the soil shows no sign of life to the eye, but within it has already cracked open, already reached toward the light, already destined to bloom. So it is with your desire. It may not appear yet in the physical world, but within the unseen, it has already begun. How often have you worried that your needs would not be met? How often have you lived in fear of lack, in doubt of tomorrow, in the anxious search for security? And yet, how many times has the universe already carried you through? Look back over your life, and you will see that you have survived every trial, risen from every fall, been sustained even in moments you thought you would break. You were always provided for. You were never abandoned. The very fact that you stand here now is proof that the universe has never failed to give you what you needed. But here is the mystery: the universe does not give according to begging, but according to believing. To plead desperately for your desire is to affirm that you do not have it. To affirm lack is to perpetuate lack. To see yourself as poor, as struggling, as overlooked, is to command the universe to echo that vision. But to trust, to assume, to believe, this is the true prayer, the silent decree that must be fulfilled. When you dare to live as though you already are who you wish to be, the universe has no choice but to conform. What you need is not out there somewhere, waiting to be granted. What you need is already within you, waiting to be claimed. Your imagination is the creative power of the universe individualized in you. When you imagine with feeling, you plant the seed of reality. When you persist in that inner knowing, you water it. And when you rest in trust, You allow the unseen process to complete itself without digging up the seed to see if it has grown. Think of the times when life seemed against you, when doors closed, when opportunities slipped away, when people left. At first you may have cursed the universe, believing it had denied you. But later, with time and clarity, you realized those closed doors led you to something better. The relationship that ended made way for the one that fulfilled you. The job you lost opened the path to a higher calling. The rejection that stung redirected you toward your true purpose. The universe was never against you. It was guiding you, aligning you, reshaping you to receive what was always yours. To trust the universe is to believe that even the apparent setbacks are setups for your greater good. What if nothing is truly against you? What if every moment, every twist, every delay is part of a divine orchestration, moving you toward your fulfillment? Then you would cease resisting. You would stop doubting. You would live in the calm assurance that everything is unfolding for you, not against you. Your task is not to figure out how the universe will do it. Your task is to decide what you want. Assume it is already so, and rest in that conviction. The how, the when, the where, these belong to the infinite intelligence that governs all. To worry about the process is to step into confusion. To trust the process is to step into peace. Imagine the farmer who plants his seed. He does not dig it up daily to check its progress. He waters it, protects it, and trusts the unseen forces of life to bring it to harvest. So must you treat your desires. Perhaps you need money. Perhaps you need love. Perhaps you need healing. Perhaps you need clarity. Whatever the need, the universe already contains the supply. There is no shortage in infinite abundance. The only barrier is the wall of disbelief you build in your mind. Tear it down with trust. Live as though your need is already met, and soon the outer world will reveal what you have already claimed within. You are never asking for too much. The universe is limitless. The only limitation is what you believe you can receive. If you ask for a small thing but doubt it, you block it. If you ask for a great thing but believe it, you will have it. For the universe makes no distinction in effort. To manifest a penny or a million is the same. To heal a scratch or a disease is the same. To attract a stranger or a soulmate is the same. The only question is, do you trust? Trust is not passive resignation. Trust is active faith. It is the boldness to live from the end, to embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to walk with the confidence that what you seek is seeking you. It is not waiting hopelessly, but moving as though it is already yours. When you walk in that trust, doors open that you could never have forced. The phone rings at the perfect time. The opportunity arrives effortlessly. The solution appears as if by magic. But it is not magic. It is law. It is the unfailing response of the universe to the command of your inner state. Consider this: when you trust the universe, you radiate a different energy. You speak differently, walk differently, act differently. You no longer grasp in desperation, but you move with quiet assurance. People feel this. Circumstances align to this. Life bends to this. The universe mirrors this. That is why trust is the secret key. Without it, you block the flow. With it, you open the floodgates of abundance. You may wonder, how can I trust when I do not see it yet? But that is the very essence of trust. To believe without seeing. To know before the evidence. To rest in the unseen. If you wait until the evidence appears, you are no longer trusting. You are merely observing. Trust is what brings the evidence. The unseen creates the seen, never the other way around. Close your eyes and dare to imagine your desire fulfilled. Feel the joy of already having it. Breathe in the relief of the need already met. Rest in the gratitude of the answered prayer. As you dwell in this state, trust that the universe has already answered. From that moment, let go. Stop checking. Stop doubting. Stop fearing. Live in the end. Walk in the confidence of the answered prayer. This is the true act of faith. There will be moments when the old reality still echoes. The bills may still come. The body may still ache. The loneliness may still whisper. But do not waver. These are only remnants of past states. They are shadows fading away. Trust that your new assumption is already forming. Persist in your inner knowing, and the outer must bow to it. The greatest gift you can give yourself is the confidence that life is on your side. No more struggle. No more resistance. No more fear. Trust the universe, and you will see that every need is already met. Every desire already answered. Every dream already fulfilled. The world is not against you. It is responding to you. Align with trust, and the response will be abundance, peace, joy, and fulfillment. So I ask you now, Will you continue to fight appearances, or will you trust the unseen? Will you believe in lack, or will you rest in abundance? Will you cling to fear, or will you embrace faith? The choice is yours. But know this, the universe has already said yes. Your part is simply to believe it. Trust and you will receive. Trust and you will see. Trust and you will see. Trust and you will live the life that was always meant for you. The universe is faithful. The universe is abundant. The universe is you. When you awaken to this truth, you no longer measure your life by the outer conditions, but by the inner conviction. You no longer ask, will I be provided for? But instead declare, I already am. You no longer say, I hope it comes, but instead affirm, it is mine now. And as you dwell in that inner certainty, the outer must bend to reflect it. This is not wishful thinking, but the creative law of life itself. You see, the universe is not deciding whether you are worthy. Worthiness was never the question. You were born worthy. You remain worthy. Nothing you have ever done or failed to do has altered your worthiness. The only question is whether you will trust enough to receive what has always been available. Imagine standing in front of a fountain of endless water, yet holding your cup upside down. The fountain does not stop flowing, but your position prevents you from receiving. The moment you turn the cup upright with trust, the water pours in effortlessly. Think about how many people live their entire lives with their cup upside down. They pray, they plead, they struggle, yet all the while they live in doubt, in fear, in disbelief. Their actions may appear spiritual or diligent, but their inner state is one of lack, and the universe must mirror lack back to them, for it is impartial. It only reflects the position of the cup. If you want to change your life, you must change your inner position, from doubt to trust, from lack to abundance, from fear to faith. The mind will protest, saying, but what about reality? What about the facts? What about the evidence before me? And yet what you call facts are merely past creations, echoes of former states of consciousness. They are not permanent. They are not truth. They are passing shadows. If you persist in new assumptions, new facts will arise, new evidence will appear, and the so-called reality will be rewritten. The only constant is consciousness. Trust that what you assume now is greater than what you see now. There is a deep rest that comes when you truly trust. You no longer wrestle with life. You no longer force outcomes. You no longer panic at delays. You walk calmly, knowing that unseen hands are arranging everything for you. You speak with confidence, knowing that your words are creative. You imagine with certainty, knowing that what you hold inwardly must one day appear outwardly. You rest because you know the work is already finished in the invisible. You are only waiting for time to reveal what is already true. Trust transforms your entire relationship with life. Instead of seeing the universe as something to conquer, you see it as something to collaborate with. Instead of believing that success is achieved by toil and struggle, you realize it is received by alignment and trust. Instead of fearing tomorrow, you welcome it, for you know tomorrow can only reveal the seed you plant today. And since you are planting seeds of abundance, joy and peace, tomorrow must reflect those very things. Look closely, and you will notice that those who live in trust radiate a kind of lightness. They are not burdened. They are not bitter. They walk with ease, even when challenges appear, because they know those challenges are only stepping stones to greater fulfillment. They do not cling desperately to people or possessions, for they know that whatever leaves creates room for something greater to arrive. They are free because they trust. The universe has countless ways to bring your desire to you. Do not confine it to one channel. If you believe money can only come through one source, you close the door to infinite possibilities. If you believe love can only appear in one form, you restrict the boundless creativity of life. Trust that the universe knows countless paths you cannot see. Trust that it can use any person, any event, any circumstance, to deliver what you need. And so release the how, release the when, release the where. Simply hold the end in mind, and allow the universe to write the story. Have you ever noticed that the most extraordinary blessings often arrive in ways you never expected? You plan one path, but life surprises you with a greater one. You hope for a small thing, and the universe gives you something beyond your imagination. This is the nature of trust. It leaves room for miracles, for the greater plan that exceeds your limited perspective. To trust is to surrender your narrow view, and open to infinite possibilities. Every time you choose trust over fear, you elevate your state. Every time you say, I know it is done, instead of what if it fails, you move closer to the fulfillment of your desire. Every time you dwell in the feeling of already having, Instead of the anxiety of not yet having, you send out a command that the universe must obey. Trust is not weakness, it is power. It is the force that moves unseen mountains and brings invisible dreams into visible reality. So practice trust in the small things. Trust that the right words will come when you need them. Trust that the right person will appear at the right time. Trust that the money you require will arrive in the perfect way. As you build this trust, it grows into unshakable confidence. Soon you no longer waver, no longer doubt, no longer live in fear of tomorrow. You live in the assurance that life itself is for you, never against you. Imagine a traveler who sets out on a journey without a map, yet with absolute faith that the road itself will reveal the way. At first glance, such faith may appear reckless, yet notice how life always provides signs, directions, encounters, and opportunities to those who walk with confidence. The traveler who trusts does not stand still, paralyzed by uncertainty. He steps forward, and with each step the next portion of the path appears. So it is with you. When you trust, you no longer need the entire plan in advance. You need only the next step, and as you take it, the universe unveils the following one. Many live in the illusion that they must control every detail of their lives. They cling, they manipulate, they exhaust themselves in trying to bend reality by force. Yet the harder they push, the more resistance they meet, because they are fighting against the very flow of life. Trust is the opposite. Trust allows. Trust surrenders not in weakness, but in wisdom. Trust understands that the universe is infinitely more intelligent than your limited reasoning, and it is always orchestrating the perfect unfolding. Think of the caterpillar. Within its cocoon, it appears that nothing is happening, yet an invisible process is at work, transforming it into a butterfly. If the caterpillar could reason, perhaps it would doubt, perhaps it would cry out in fear, believing itself trapped, believing life had abandoned it. But the process is not one of abandonment. It is one of transformation. And when the time is right, the butterfly emerges in beauty. This is the way of the universe. When you trust, you allow the invisible process to continue, until at last the beauty that was hidden within is revealed. There are moments in life when what you need most seems delayed, withheld, or even denied. But delay is not denial. Delay is often preparation. The universe is not slow. It is precise. A desire may be ready in your heart, but are you yet prepared to receive it? Sometimes the universe withholds what you ask for, not because you are unworthy, but because you are still being shaped to hold it. A great blessing without the readiness to sustain it may turn into a burden. But when you trust, you allow the process of preparation, and when the blessing arrives, you find yourself fully capable of receiving and sustaining it with joy. Think of a child demanding to drive a car. The parent does not deny the child forever, but only until the child has grown enough to handle the responsibility. The car is already there. The road is already there, but the timing matters. So it is with your desires. Trust the timing, for the universe knows when you are ready, even more than you do. Trust that every apparent delay is shaping you, growing you, aligning you, so that when your desire arrives, it blesses you and does not break you.
To trust the universe is to trust the unseen connections that are always at work. A phone call delayed may line up the perfect conversation at the perfect time. A rejection today may align you with a greater opportunity tomorrow. An encounter that seems accidental may open a door that no planning could have arranged. Trust weaves these threads together, for nothing is random. Everything is part of the pattern. The universe wastes nothing. And notice how trust changes not only the outcomes, but your inner life. When you trust, you sleep peacefully instead of tossing in worry. You speak words of gratitude instead of words of complaint. You radiate calm assurance instead of restless anxiety. And as you change inwardly, your outer world reflects that change. People are drawn to you. Opportunities flow to you. Solutions present themselves. This is the paradox. When you stop forcing, life begins to flow. When you stop doubting, answers appear. When you trust, you unlock doors that fear had kept closed. Some believe that to trust the universe means to relinquish all desire, to accept only what comes. But this is misunderstanding. Trust does not deny desire. Trust fulfills it. Desire itself is the voice of the universe within you, urging you toward expansion, urging you toward the greater life that is already yours. You were not given desire to torment you, but to awaken you. Desire is the seed. Trust is the soil, and faith is the water. Together, they grow into manifestation. Ask yourself, what would change in your life if you truly trusted? Would you not walk lighter? Would you not release the constant weight of worry? Would you not speak more boldly, act more freely, love more openly? Would you not create without fear of failure, knowing that the universe supports your every step? This is the power of trust. It frees you from the prison of fear and opens the door to infinite abundance. And remember this, trust is not only for the extraordinary moments, it is for the everyday. Trust that the small things will be taken care of. Trust that the conversation will go smoothly. Trust that the errand will unfold with ease. Trust that even when plans shift, they shift in your favor. As you cultivate trust in the small, you strengthen your faith for the great. Each small act of trust is a stone laid in the foundation of an unshakable life. Picture for a moment a gardener walking through a barren field. To the untrained eye, the soil looks empty, lifeless, without promise. Yet the gardener does not despair, for he knows that seeds are already hidden beneath the surface. He waters them, tends them, speaks to them with faith, and trusts that though he cannot see them, life is stirring beneath the soil. He does not dig frantically to check if the seeds are sprouting. He does not question every day whether the process is working. He trusts the unseen forces of nature, and in due time, green shoots break through, blossoms unfold, and fruit appears. So it is with you. Your desires are the seeds, imagination is the planting, persistence is the watering, and trust is the patience that allows them to bloom. Think of the contrast: one who doubts digs up the seed every day to see if it is growing. He becomes restless, impatient, convinced that nothing is happening. He disrupts the process and destroys the growth. But the one who trusts rests, knowing that the unseen is as real as the seen. He continues his life in confidence, and the harvest arrives in perfect season. Which of these gardeners do you wish to be? The restless one who lives in anxiety, or the trusting one who lives in peace and receives in abundance? Life is a tapestry woven with threads of both visible and invisible forces. You see only a fragment, a corner of the cloth, and from that limited perspective, it may appear chaotic, tangled, without design. But step back far enough, and you would see the pattern emerging, the colors aligning, the beauty revealed. Trust is living as though you already behold the full tapestry, even when your eyes see only threads. Trust is believing that every thread, every event, every circumstance, every encounter is part of a greater design working for your good. You have been told that to achieve success, you must labor endlessly, sacrifice without rest, and struggle through hardship. Yet notice how many who live this way are weary, drained, and still unfulfilled. Their struggle is not a requirement of life, but a symptom of mistrust. They do not believe that the universe supports them, so they rely only on their own strained effort. But those who trust, though they may work diligently, move with ease, with flow, with inspiration. They are carried, guided, uplifted. Their results seem disproportionate to their effort, for trust multiplies what action alone could never produce. You have also seen those who walk through storms with calmness. While others panic, they are serene. While others collapse in despair, they remain steady. What is their secret? It is trust. They have learned that even the storm is temporary. Even the winds and rains are shaping them. Even the lightning reveals flashes of direction. They trust that beyond the storm is clear sky, and because they hold that assurance, they endure with strength, and when the storm passes they are still standing, stronger, wiser, deeper. Consider the river flowing to the sea. It does not worry about the bends, the rocks, the detours. It does not fear that it will lose its way. It flows, it adapts, it trusts that gravity will carry it to its destination. And no matter how many twists and turns, no matter how many obstacles lie in its path, it always arrives at the sea. Trust in the universe is like this. Your life may take turns you did not expect, paths you did not plan, but if you trust, you will arrive at the fulfillment of your destiny. The current of life is carrying you, and resistance only exhausts you. Trust allows you to flow. You may say, but I have trusted before and been disappointed. Look closer. Was it trust, or was it conditional hope mixed with fear? True trust never fails, because it is rooted in the unseen law that what you assume inwardly must be expressed outwardly. Perhaps you grew impatient. Perhaps you looked only at appearances and declared the seed dead when it was still germinating. Perhaps you shifted back and forth between faith and doubt, planting and uprooting the seed repeatedly. Do not call this failure of trust, call it lesson. Now you know. Now you can stand unwavering. Now you can truly trust without compromise. Trust is like breathing. When you breathe, you do not question whether air will fill your lungs. You inhale with confidence. In the same way, when you live in trust, you do not question whether your needs will be met. You know the universe is your supply. Just as oxygen is invisible yet sustains you, so the unseen substance of life sustains every desire. The only difference is that most people have trained themselves to trust in air, but doubt the abundance of the universe. Once you transfer that same natural faith to your desires, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. Every great vision, every great invention, every great achievement in history was born of trust. The pioneers who ventured into unknown lands, the artists who created works unseen before, the dreamers who shaped civilizations, all trusted in what was not yet visible. They dared to believe, to imagine, to act as though it were already so. And the universe responded, because it must. If their trust had been absent, the vision would have died within them, never to touch the world. Trust is not optional for greatness. It is essential. Think of a musician standing before an empty hall. At first there is silence. The chairs are vacant, the stage dim, the audience absent. Yet the musician does not despair, for he trusts that when he plays, the sound will fill the hall. He lifts the instrument, he breathes, and the notes arise. The empty space responds, echoing the music, carrying it to corners unseen. Trust is like this. You may look at your life and see emptiness, but when you dare to play the music of your desire within, the universe cannot help but respond, amplifying your song until the whole of life reverberates with it. Trust is the bridge between desire and fulfillment. Without it, you stand on one side, gazing at what you wish for, yet never reaching it. With it, you walk across with certainty, step by step, until you stand where you once only dreamed. Doubt robs you of movement. Fear freezes your steps. But trust carries you forward even when the bridge is hidden in mist, for you know that as you take each step, the next will be revealed. Do you recall the times when you worried endlessly about outcomes, and yet in the end, all turned out better than you imagined? The worry was wasted energy. It drained you, yet it did not shape the outcome. What shaped the outcome was the alignment of forces far beyond your limited control. And had you trusted, you would have spared yourself the suffering of anxiety. Trust does not change only results. It changes your experience on the way to the result. With trust, the journey becomes peace, even before the destination is reached. There is an old story of two farmers who prayed for rain. One prayed with desperation, constantly checking the skies, doubting, complaining, declaring that the drought would ruin him. The other prayed with trust, then went out and prepared his fields, plowing the soil, planting the seeds, arranging the channels for water to flow. Which of these farmers received when the rain came? Both perhaps, but only one was ready to receive the blessing fully. Trust prepares you for what is coming, because it knows it is coming. Doubt paralyzes you into inaction, so that even when the blessing arrives, you are unprepared to receive it. This is why trust must be embodied, not only spoken. To say I trust while acting in fear, while living in worry, while making decisions from lack, is not true trust. True trust moves you. True trust changes your posture, your speech, your choices. It makes you behave as though the desire is already accomplished, because inwardly you know it is. You no longer hoard from fear of shortage, for you know supply is endless. You no longer chase desperately after people, for you know the right ones are drawn to you. You no longer shrink from opportunities, for you know the universe supports every bold step you take. Trust makes you magnetic. People sense it. They are drawn to the calmness, the certainty, the quiet authority that comes from one who knows life is for them. This is why those who trust often seem lucky. Doors open for them. Breakthroughs appear for them. Opportunities seem to chase them. But it is not luck. It is law. They have aligned with the flow of abundance through trust, and abundance flows to them as naturally as water downhill. Even in the smallest things, the principle holds. Consider how often you misplace something: a key, a paper, a tool. You search frantically, grow frustrated, declare it lost, and the more you panic, the less you see. Then you pause, breathe, release the tension, and suddenly, almost effortlessly, you find it before you. What changed? Not the object. It was always there. What changed was your state. The shift from doubt and panic to quiet trust opened your awareness. If such a small example reveals the power of trust, imagine how much greater it is in the larger affairs of life. There is another image, a sailor at sea. The stars are hidden, the winds unpredictable, the waves rough. To the inexperienced, this is terror. But the seasoned sailor knows that the current has a rhythm, the wind has a pattern, the sea has a wisdom. He adjusts his sails, steadies his course, and trusts the sea to carry him. Panic achieves nothing but exhaustion. Trust carries him forward until the stars return and the shore appears. Life is much the same. Your storms are real, but trust steadies you. Panic only blinds you. Trust is not blind acceptance of whatever happens. It is the conscious choice to assume that whatever happens is shaping you, guiding you, and leading you to what is already yours. Even the detours have purpose. Even the pauses are meaningful. Even the closed doors redirect you toward the open ones that matter most. If you trust this, you will find beauty, even in apparent disappointments, for you will see them not as endings, but as redirections. Every dream placed in your heart has provision already waiting in the unseen. Trust draws that provision into view. Like a magnet, trust pulls the unseen into the seen, the invisible into the visible, the imagined into the real. Without trust, the provision remains hidden, though it exists. With trust, it appears in perfect time, in perfect form. Think of trust as the soil in which all miracles grow. Without soil, a seed cannot take root. Without trust, a desire cannot manifest. The soil does not question the seed, does not argue whether it is worthy to grow. It simply holds it, nourishes it, gives it space. In the same way, trust holds your desire, nourishes it with quiet certainty, gives it space to unfold. The soil does not demand to see results immediately. It knows that time will reveal them. So too must you learn to hold your desires in the rich ground of trust, knowing that the unseen is working even when the seen is silent. Consider how a child asks a parent for something with no thought of whether it can be provided. The child does not question whether food will be on the table tomorrow, or whether the lights will turn on when the switch is pressed. The child simply trusts, and in that trust the child lives free from fear, free from burden, free from worry. How different would your life be if you carried that same childlike trust in the universe? To live as though your needs are already met, your desires already answered, your future already secured. This is the freedom of trust. You may have noticed that when you worry, you attract more reasons to worry. When you fear, you invite the very thing you dread. But when you trust, you draw to yourself evidence of that trust. You see opportunities where once you saw obstacles. You recognize blessings where once you saw burdens. You receive answers where once you saw only questions. The outer world mirrors the state you occupy within, and trust creates a world that reflects peace, abundance, and fulfillment. Think about relationships. When you distrust, you cling, you doubt, you smother, and in doing so you often drive away the very love you seek. But when you trust, you relax, you allow, you radiate confidence, and this draws love naturally to you. The same principle applies in every area. Distrust repels, trust attracts. Distrust contracts, trust expands. Distrust weakens, trust empowers.
Even your body responds to trust. Notice how stress, anxiety, and fear manifest in tension, illness, and fatigue. And notice how calmness, peace, and trust manifest in health, energy, and strength. Your body is an instrument of your inner state. To live in trust is to give your body rest, to allow it to heal, to allow it to thrive. Trust is not only a spiritual law, but a physical medicine. And what about money? So many live in fear of not having enough, and so they hoard, they cling, they chase, they worry. This fear creates the very scarcity they dread. But when you trust, you spend with wisdom but without fear. You give freely, knowing that supply is endless. You receive without guilt, knowing that abundance is your birthright. And as you move in this flow, money flows to you. Opportunities multiply, doors open. Trust turns scarcity into sufficiency, and sufficiency into abundance. There is a rhythm to life, like the ebb and flow of the tide. To distrust is to fight against the tide, exhausting yourself in resistance. To trust is to move with the tide, carried effortlessly by its strength. You do not fear the waves when you know they are part of the rhythm. You do not fear the night when you know the sun will rise again. Trust rests in these rhythms, knowing that all of life is cyclical and every low tide prepares for a high tide.
Every winter prepares for spring. You may be tempted to say, I will trust when I see the evidence. But that is not trust, that is observation. Trust is believing before you see, knowing before you touch, celebrating before it arrives. Trust is what brings the evidence into being. Without it, you are forever stuck, waiting for proof, and by waiting for proof, you deny yourself the very thing you seek. The world was not created from what was seen, but from what was unseen. So too your life is not created from what you observe, but from what you trust within. Think of the inventor who trusts his vision, though no one else sees it. Think of the dreamer who trusts her calling, though the world laughs at it. Think of the healer who trusts in wholeness, though the body shows sickness. These are the ones who change the world, not because they waited for evidence, but because they trusted in the unseen until the evidence appeared. Trust makes you unstoppable. It makes you resilient. It gives you a power that cannot be shaken by appearances. The world may say it is impossible, but trust whispers it is already done. The facts may say there is no way, but trust declares the way will appear. The circumstances may say it is over, but trust proclaims this is only the beginning. With trust, you hold authority over appearances, and in time, appearances bow to your authority. Trust is not passive, it is the most active force you can carry within. For when you trust, you set into motion unseen energies that arrange circumstances in your favor. Trust is a command to the universe, a decree that your word shall become flesh. Trust says, I believe in my desire so fully that I no longer need to struggle for it. I know it is already mine. And with that knowing, you release the struggle, you release the effort, and you step into the effortless rhythm of creation. Notice how trust changes your tone, your body language, your entire presence. A person who trusts walks with ease, speaks with clarity, radiates calm assurance. Others are drawn to this energy, opportunities are attracted to this vibration. The universe itself bends to the state of trust. But a person who doubts, walks in hesitation, speaks with uncertainty, radiates confusion. And that confusion sends out a signal that returns in delayed answers, mixed results, and half-formed manifestations. Trust is not blind, it sees more clearly than sight. It sees beyond appearances into the truth that already exists. It sees beyond lack into abundance, beyond sickness into health, beyond limitation into freedom. Trust does not deny appearances, it simply refuses to be ruled by them. It acknowledges what is visible, but it anchors itself in the invisible truth that stands behind the visible. And in time, the visible must align with the invisible. Think of how you plant a seed in the ground. For days, nothing seems to happen. If you dig it up each morning to check its progress, you kill it. But if you trust the process, the roots grow unseen, the sprout breaks through the soil, and the seed becomes a tree. Life works in the same way. Your desires are seeds planted in consciousness. Trust is the refusal to dig them up with doubt and worry. Trust is letting them take root, knowing that the moment you asked, the process began. Even when obstacles appear, trust transforms them into stepping stones. Without trust, a challenge becomes a wall. With trust, it becomes a bridge. The same circumstance, seen through the eyes of trust, carries a completely different meaning. And meaning determines experience. When you trust, you see every delay as preparation, every detour as redirection, every obstacle as hidden opportunity. Life bends in your favor because your trust refuses to see anything as against you. Do not underestimate the power of a single thought of trust. One moment of genuine belief can outweigh years of doubt. One moment of surrender can unlock what seemed forever closed. One moment of faith can dissolve fear that changed you for decades. Trust does not need to be constant in its early stages. Even a flicker of trust can spark transformation. But the more you practice it, the stronger it becomes, until it becomes your natural state of being. Trust is not something you manufacture, it is something you allow. It is already within you, like a well waiting to be tapped. You were born with trust. A baby trusts that it will be fed, held,